How are you guys doing? Today is Saturday, April 23rd, 2022. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review yesterday's Elite matchups and performances from Friday, April 22nd, 2022. And before I preview what's going on today, I'm going to take a quick step back and look at where we are in the NBA, MLB, and soccer calendars. We are about a week away from the end of the NHL season as that playoffs is going to get started, but looking at what's going on in the NBA playoffs, there are still 16 teams that are left competing as no team has been eliminated from the first round yet. We may see teams start to get eliminated, especially this weekend. Taking a look at what's going on with baseball, the MLB is still in like the first couple weeks of its season as teams are starting to see themselves out. Not to mention that overseas with soccer, we are getting into yet another weekend as teams are even starting to win and clinch domestic leagues, as teams are starting to sort themselves out also for Champions League seeding as well, as we are getting to go into the semifinal round of the Europa League and the Champions League. With that said, I'm going to start with what happened in the NBA, and there were 3 playoff games yesterday. The first of the 3 was the 1-8 matchup in the Eastern Conference, as the 8 seed Atlanta Hawks would go on to host the 1 seed Miami Heat. And of course, this would come after the Heat were able to win the very first 2 games in Miami. They won game 1 by 24, and then they won game 2 by 10. Leading 2-0 going in, the Heat would go on to fall short to Atlanta, and as the Hawks would beat the Heat 111-110 to win their first game of the series. The Hawks won this game by 1 after they had to outscore the Heat by 9 points in the second quarter, so they were up by 7 at the half. After the Heat outscored the Hawks by 15 in the third, the Hawks would outscore the Heat by 9 in the fourth quarter. The Hawks were trailing by 8 going into the fourth quarter. They would go on to win this game by 1 point, as the go-ahead floater would be made by Trae Young. Who else? On the losing end of this matchup, the 1 seed Miami Heat were led in scoring by their guard off the bench out of Kentucky, Tyler Hero. He finished with 24 points and 7 rebounds in 34 minutes. He shot 10 for 22 from the field, and he made 4 of his 11 three-pointers on the night. In their starting lineup, their elite starting small forward, Jimmy Butler out of Marquette, would finish with 20 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 steals in 41 minutes. He shot 8 for 20 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3, and he made all 3 of his free throws. Miami starting shooting guard Max Strus finished with 20 points in 29 minutes. He shot 7 for 13 from the field, 5 for 10 from 3, and he shot 1 for 3 from the foul line. Their starting center, Bam Adebayo out of Kentucky, finished with 13 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals in 35 minutes. Bam shot 5 for 9 from the field and made all 3 of his free throws. The Heat starting power forward, PJ Tucker, finished with 11 points and 7 rebounds in 33 minutes. On the home side of this matchup, the winning team in this matchup, the 8 seed Atlanta Hawks, would be led in scoring by their elite starting point guard, Trae Young. Young finished with 24 points, 4 rebounds, and 8 assists in 40 minutes. He shot 6 for 14 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3, and 10 for 12 from the foul line as he made the game-winning shot for the Hawks. Off the bench, their shooting guard Bogdan Bogdanovic finished with 18 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals in 32 minutes. Their starting small forward out of Virginia, Deandre Ayton, finished with 17 points in 32 minutes. Their starting shooting guard, Kevin Huerter, finished with 13 points and 5 rebounds in 33 minutes. Their shooting guard off the bench, DeLon Wright, finished with 13 points and 5 rebounds in 30 minutes. Their starting power forward out of Italy, Danilo Gallinari, would finish with 11 points in 25 minutes. With this win, the 8 seed Atlanta Hawks are still trailing the Miami Heat 2-1 in the series. They have to win 3 of their next 4 games if they want to clinch a spot in the second round of the playoffs, as game 4 will be hosted by them. That game will be tomorrow on TNT. With this loss, the first seed Miami Heat are still leading the series 2-1. They have to win 2 of their next 4 games, as their next game is going to be in Atlanta. Game 5 should be in Miami. But taking a look at what happened in the second game yesterday, this was Game 3 in the Eastern Conference's 3-6 series, as the 6 seed Chicago Bulls hosted the 3 seed defending champs Milwaukee Bucks. The series was tied at 1 after the Bucks won Game 1 in Milwaukee. The Bulls won Game 2 by 4. Game 3 would see the Bucks beat the Bulls by 30 in Chicago. They won 111-81. This came after they outscored the Bulls by 16 points in the first quarter. They went on to outscore the Bulls by an additional 12 in the third quarter. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Chicago Bulls, the 6th seed in the East, were led in scoring by their starting center Nikola Vucevic. He finished with 19 points and 6 rebounds in 30 minutes. He would go on to shoot 8 for 17 from the field. And of course, their all-star starting shooting guard, Zach LaVine, finished with 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in 31 minutes. He shot 6 for 13 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and he made his only free throw. The Bulls' all-star starting small forward, DeMar DeRozan, finished with 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists in 32 minutes. He shot 4 for 9 from the field and 3 for 5 from the foul line. The Bulls' center, Tony Bradley, off the bench, finished with 10 points in 6 minutes. On the winning end of this matchup, the 3 seed Milwaukee Bucks, who are the defending champs, were led in scoring by their shooting guard off the bench out of Duke University, not everyone's favorite Dookie, Grayson Allen. Allen would finish with 22 points and 6 rebounds in 25 minutes. He shot 8 for 12 from the field, 5 for 7 from 3, and he made his only free throw on the night. Their elite starting power forward and last year's NBA Finals MVP, the Greek freak Giannis Antetokounmpo, would finish with 18 points, 7 rebounds, and 9 assists in 29 minutes. He shot 7 for 12 from the field and 4 for 5 from the free throw line. Their starting center out of Arkansas, I believe, Bobby Portis Jr., finished with 18 points and 16 rebounds in 25 minutes. He shot 7 for 14 from the field and 4 for 8 from 3. Their starting point guard out of UCLA, Drew Holiday, finished with 16 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists in 30 minutes. He went on to shoot 7 for 14 from the field, and he would go on to shoot 1 for 2 from the free throw line. With this win, the 3 seed Milwaukee Bucks now hold a 2-1 series lead over the Chicago Bulls. Game 4 in this matchup will be in Chicago tomorrow on ABC. With a 2-1 series lead, the Bucks need to win 2 of their next 4 games, and since the Bulls are trailing 2-1, they need to win 3 of their next 4 games if they want to clinch a spot in the second round to face off against the winner between the Boston Celtics and the Brooklyn Nets. Last but not least, taking a look at what happened in New Orleans, the 8 seed Pelicans would host the 1 seed Phoenix Suns, as the Suns played without their elite starting shooting guard Devin Booker. In this matchup, the Suns would beat the Pelicans 114-111 after they came into the series tied at 1. Looking at how the first games went in Phoenix, the Suns won the first game by 11 and the Pelicans won the second game by 11. In Game 3, the Suns won it by 3 after they outscored the Pelicans by 12 in the second quarter. On the losing end of this matchup at home, the 8 seed Pelicans were led in scoring by their elite starting small forward out of Duke, Brandon Ingram. Ingram finished with 34 points, 7 rebounds, and a couple of assists in 37 minutes. He shot 11 for 19 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3, and 9 for 10 from the free throw line. Their starting shooting guard, CJ McCollum, finished with 30 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals in 41 minutes. He shot 11 for 23 from the field, 4 for 11 from 3 as well, and 4 for 8 from the free throw line. Their starting small forward, Herbert Jones, finished with 12 points in 40 minutes. Their point guard off the bench, Devontae Graham out of Kansas, finished with 12 points and 5 rebounds. On the winning end of this matchup, the NBA regular season champs, Phoenix Suns, were led in scoring by their elite starting point guard, Chris Paul, and their former number 1 overall pick playing center, Deandre Ayton. Chris Paul finished with 28 points, 4 rebounds, and 14 assists in 40 minutes. He shot 10 for 18 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3, and 7 for 8 from the free throw line. Their starting center, Deandre Ayton, finished with 28 points, 17 rebounds, and 3 steals in 35 minutes. He shot 13 for 20 from the field. He made his only three-pointer, and he made his only free throw on the night. Their starting small forward, Mikal Bridges, finished with 17 points in 40 minutes. Their starting power forward, Jay Crowder, finished with 10 points and 5 fouls in 34 minutes. Their center off the bench, JaVale McGee, finished with 15 points in 12 minutes. With this win, the 1-seed Phoenix Suns now hold a 2-1 series lead over the 8-seed New Orleans Pelicans. Game 4 of this matchup will be in New Orleans tomorrow on TNT. With a 2-1 series lead, the Suns need to win 2 of their next 4 games if they want to advance to the next round. And of course, the Pelicans must win 3 of their next 4, as still we have yet to see if this game will even go to a game 6. But that is what the NBA is looking like following yesterday's matchups. We are now entering the second weekend of the NBA playoffs, taking a look at what's happening first. At 2 o'clock on TNT, it will be the Eastern Conference's 4-5 matchup as the Toronto Raptors, the 5 seed, are facing elimination. The 4 seed Philadelphia 76ers are leading this series 3-0 after they won their first 2 games in Philly. They won their most recent game in Toronto by 3 off of a last-second game winner from Joel Embiid. So a win here could possibly see the Sixers being the first team to advance to the second round of this playoffs. And the Raptors have to win their next 4 games if they want to make it into the second round of the playoffs. Looking at the second matchup today at 4:30 on TNT, it will be the Western Conference's 4-5 matchup as the 5 seed Utah Jazz are going to host the 4 seed Dallas Mavericks. Coming into this matchup, 4 seed Dallas leads this series 2-1. They would split their first 2 games in Salt Lake City as the Mavericks won the last game by 8. The Mavericks won the last 2 games after the Jazz won game 1. And because they hold a 2-1 series lead, one win here could see the Dallas Mavericks hit 1 win closer from the second round. The Utah Jazz have to win 3 of their next 4 games if they want to make it into the second round. So, of course, very big game for both teams as this will be in Vivint Arena. Taking a look at what's going on at 7:30 on ESPN in Barclays Center in Brooklyn. The 7-seed Brooklyn Nets are going to host the 2-seed Boston Celtics after the Celtics won the very first 2 games of the series in Boston. Boston won game 1 by 1. They went on to win game 2 by 7. With one more win here, they could be 1 win away and pretty much lock up the series. The Nets must win the Nets must win 4 of their next 5 games in order to make it to the next round, or they are eliminated from the playoffs. Last but not least, taking a look at what's going on at 10 o'clock on ESPN, it will be Game 4 in the Western Conference's 2-7 series as the 7-seed Minnesota Timberwolves are going to host the 2-seed Grizzlies. After these 2 teams split the games in Memphis, Game 3 was won by the Grizzlies in Minneapolis. The Grizzlies are 2 wins away from making it into the second round of this tournament. And the Minnesota Timberwolves are 3 wins away. So this is a very big matchup between these teams as well. But that is what the NBA playoffs is looking like. There are 16 teams left, and there very well could be 15 by the end of today. Taking a look at what's going on in the MLB, starting off in Cincinnati, the Reds hosted the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals would end up beating the Reds 4-2 as the Reds never even got a chance to score, as the Reds would go on to pick up the first 10-game losing streak of the season in their 14th game. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Cincinnati Reds were led out by their starting pitcher Hunter Green. He allowed 3 earned runs off of 4 hits in 3.1 innings pitched. He struck out 3 batters and walked 4, and with this loss, he's 1-2. In the Reds batting lineup, their first baseman Joey Votto went 2 for 3. Their second baseman in this matchup, Alejo Lopez, would end up going 2 for 4 with a run. Their third baseman, Colin Moran, would go 2 for 4 as well. On the winning end of this matchup, the St. Louis Cardinals would go on to be led out by their starting pitcher, Steven Matz. Matz allowed 1 earned run off of 7 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He struck out 6 batters and walked 2. With his win, Steven Matz is 2-1 on the 2022 season. The save for the Cardinals went to their closer, Giovanni Gallegos. Gallegos allowed 1 earned run off of 2 hits in the 9th inning. This is his 4th save of the year. In the Cardinals batting lineup, their right fielder, Dylan Carlson, went 2 for 4 with a run. Their elite first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt, went 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs. Their elite third baseman, Nolan Arenado, went 2 for 4. With this win, the St. Louis Cardinals are now 8-4. That is the best record in the National League Central. They've won 6 of their last 10 games after winning their first 2 games of the season. They are sitting a full game ahead of the second-place Milwaukee Brewers within their division, as they are tied with the Colorado Rockies for the third best record in the National League record-wise. With this loss, the St. Louis Cardinals or the Cincinnati Reds are 2-12. That is the worst record in the National League Central. That is also the worst record in all of baseball. They're the only team who's lost at most 30% of their games. The Reds have lost their last 10 games. They're the first team to have a 10-game losing streak this season. At this moment, they are trailing the division-leading Cardinals by 7 games. Taking a look at what happened in our nation's capital, the Washington Nationals hosted the San Francisco Giants. The Giants would beat the Nationals 7-1 after scoring all 7 of their runs in the second inning. They had a 3-run home run and a 3-run double in this matchup as well, or within the second inning. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Nationals were led out by their starting pitcher, Patrick Corbin. He allowed 7 earned runs off of 7 hits in 1.2 innings pitched. He struck out 4 batters and walked 3 as he was pulled in the second inning. With this loss, Patrick Corbin is 0-3. In the Nationals batting lineup, their elite right fielder, Juan Soto, went 2 for 4. Their first baseman, Josh Bell, went 2 for 4 as well. On the winning end of this matchup, the San Francisco Giants were led out by their starting pitcher, Sam Long. Long allowed no earned runs off of 2 hits in the first 2 innings of the game. He would strike out 1. The win for the Giants would go to their first relief pitcher, Jacob Junis. He allowed no earned runs off of 3 hits as he pitched 5 innings from the 3rd to the 7th. He would strike out 4 batters, and with this win, Junis is 1-0. In the Giants batting lineup, their left fielder, Austin Slater, went 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a run as he hit his first home run of the year. Their designated hitter, Darren Ruff, went 2 for 5 with a run. Their second baseman, Tyro Estrada, went 2 for 4 with a run as well. Their shortstop, Brandon Crawford, went 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a run. Their right fielder, Mike Yastrzemski, went 2 for 4 with a run. With this win, the San Francisco Giants are 9-5. That is the 3rd best record in the National League West. They have won 7 of their last 10 games. They sit a game and a half behind the division-leading Los Angeles Dodgers. With this loss, the Washington Nationals are 6-10. That is the worst record in the National League East. They've lost their last 3 games. That is the second longest active losing streak in the National League. They've lost 6 of their last 10 games. They are trailing the division-leading New York Mets by 5.5 games at the moment. Jumping out to the Bronx, the New York Yankees hosted the Cleveland Guardians. The Yankees were able to beat the Guardians 4-1. They would go on to score all of their runs in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th innings, as they would keep the Guardians to 1 run all game. On the losing end of this matchup, the Guardians were led out by their starting pitcher, Eli Morgan. Eli Morgan would go on to allow 2 earned runs off of 1 hit in the 3 innings that he pitched. He would strike out 5 batters and walk 2 in the 3-inning span, and with this loss, he's 1-1. In the Guardians batting lineup, their left fielder in this game, Steven Kwan, would end up going 2 for 4. Their right fielder, Josh Naylor, went 2 for 4. Their shortstop, Ahmed Rosario, went 2 for 4 as well. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown New York Yankees were led out by their starting pitcher, Jameson Taillon. Taillon allowed 1 earned run off of 7 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He would strike out 5 batters as he picked up his first win of the season. He's now 1-1. The Yankees closer, their elite closer, Aroldis Chapman, would pick up his 4th save of the season. He allowed no earned runs off of 1 hit in the 9th inning as he struck out 2. In the Yankees batting lineup, their elite center fielder, Aaron Judge, ended up going 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs as he would hit his 2nd and 3rd home runs of the season. With this win, the New York Yankees are 8-6. That is the 2nd best record in the American League East, as they've won 6 of their last 10 games. They sit a full game behind the division-leading Toronto Blue Jays. With this loss, the Cleveland Guardians are 7-6. That is the best record in the American League Central, as they've only lost 4 of their last 10. They sit a full game ahead of the 2nd-place Chicago White Sox right now. Taking a look at what happened in Philadelphia, the Phillies hosted the reigning National League Central champs, Milwaukee Brewers. The Phillies would beat the Brewers 4-2. The Brewers would hold a 2-1 lead going into the bottom of the eighth, and the Phillies would end up taking the lead off of a 2-run single from Alec Boehm, and then a Johan Camargo single would, of course, put them up by an additional run. On the losing end of this matchup, the Milwaukee Brewers were led out by their starting pitcher, Freddie Peralta. Peralta allowed 1 earned run off of 3 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He would strike out 6 batters and walk 2. The loss would go to their first relief pitcher, Aaron Ashby. He allowed 3 earned runs off of 5 hits. He pitched 2 innings and he would get pulled in the 8th as he would strike out 1 and he would get walked as well. With this loss, Aaron Ashby is 0-2. In the Brewers batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit, as that would be attributed to great pitching from the Phillies. On the home side of this matchup, the Phillies were led out by their starting pitcher, Ranger Suarez. Suarez would allow 1 earned run off of 4 hits in the 4.2 innings he pitched. He struck out 4 batters and walked 3. The win for the Phillies would go to their setup relief pitcher, Nick Nelson. He allowed no earned runs in the 8th inning as he struck out 2 batters and walked 1. With this win, he's 1-0. The save for the Phillies would go to their closer, Corey Knebel. He allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. This was his 3rd save of the year. In the Phillies batting lineup, their second baseman, Gene Segura, went 2 for 5 with a run. Their elite designated hitter, Bryce Harper, went 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run as the reigning National League MVP hit his 5th double of the year. Their elite right fielder, Nick Castellanos, went 2 for 4 with a run. Their catcher, JT Realmuto, went 2 for 3 with a run as well. With this win, the Philadelphia Phillies are 6-8. That is the 3rd best record in the National League East as they've won their last 2 games. They've won 3 of their last 10 as they trail the division-leading New York Mets by 4.5 games. With this loss, the Milwaukee Brewers are 8-6. That is the 2nd best record in the National League Central. They've lost 3 of their last 10 games as they trailed the division-leading St. Louis Cardinals by 1 full game. They both have 8 wins, but the Brewers just have 2 more losses. Taking a look at what happened in Tampa, the Rays would host the Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox would end up beating the Rays 4-3. They would score all 4 of their runs in the first 3 innings as the Rays never got a chance to take the lead. On the home side of this matchup, the Brewers, the loss would be attributed to their starting pitcher, Corey Kluber. Corey Kluber would allow 4 earned runs off of 11 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He would allow all the earned runs and the hits that the Rays pitching staff would allow. He would strike out 3 batters and walk 1. With this loss, Corey Kluber is 0-1 on the season. In the Rays batting lineup, their elite shortstop, Wander Franco, went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He would go on to hit his 2nd and 3rd home runs of the year. Their 3rd baseman, Yandy Diaz, went 2 for 4. On the winning end of this matchup, the Boston Red Sox were led out by their starting pitcher, Michael Wacha. Wacha allowed 2 earned runs off of 2 hits, or 2 earned runs off of 3 hits in the 5 innings that he pitched. He would strike out 3 batters and walk 2, and with this win, he's now 1-0 on the year. The save would go to the Red Sox closer, Matt Barnes. Matt Barnes would allow no earned runs as he would finish off the 9th. This would be his first save of the year. In the Red Sox batting lineup, their elite shortstop, Xander Bogaerts, went 3 for 4 with 2 runs. Their elite 3rd baseman, Rafael Devers, went 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 3rd home run of the season. Their center fielder, Kike Hernandez, went 2 for 4 with an RBI. With this win, the Boston Red Sox are 7-7. They are tied with the Tampa Bay Rays, as a matter of fact, for the 3rd best record in the American League East. They've won 6 of their last 10, and the Rays have lost 6 of their last 10. Nonetheless, both of these teams sit 2 full games behind the division-leading Toronto Blue Jays. Jumping out to Atlanta, the defending World Series champs Atlanta Braves hosted the Miami Marlins. They would shut out the Marlins 3-0, holding the Marlins to 5 hits all game. On the losing end of this match of the Miami Marlins, the loss would be attributed to their starting pitcher Trevor Rogers. He would allow 1 run off of 4 hits in the 5 innings that he pitched. With this, he would strike out 4 batters and walk 2. With this loss, he's 0-3. In the Marlins batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 hit is the former Atlanta Brave and the reigning World Series champ. The Marlins left fielder Jorge Soler. He went 2 for 3 with a walk. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Atlanta Braves were led out by their starting pitcher Kyle Wright, who picked up his second win of the season. He would allow no earned runs off of 4 hits in the 6 innings he pitched. He struck out 11 and walked 1. With this win, Kyle Wright is 2-0. The save would go to the Braves closer Kenley Jansen. He allowed no earned runs in the 9th as he struck out 2 and walked 1. This would be his 4th save of the year. In the Braves batting lineup, their elite second baseman Ozzie Albies went 2 for 4. Their first baseman Matt Olson he would go 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. With this win, the Atlanta Braves are now 7-8. That is the second best record in the National League East. They've won 5 of their last 10 games as they sit 4 games behind the division-leading New York Mets. With this loss, the Miami Marlins are now 5-8. They are now holding the 4th best record in the National League East as they've lost 6 of their last 10 games. They are trailing the division-leading New York Mets by 5 full games in the division. Jumping out to Wrigley, the Chicago Cubs hosted the Pittsburgh Pirates from within their division. The Pirates would end up beating the Cubs 4-2. After the Cubs would tie the game at 2 in the 2nd inning, the Pirates would take the lead in the 3rd off of a solo home run from Michael Chavis. And then Roberto Perez's home run in the 5th would be the cherry on top. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Chicago Cubs were led out by their starting pitcher, Drew Smyly. Drew Smyly would go on to allow 4 earned runs off of 6 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He would strike out 4 batters and walk 1, and with this loss, Drew Smyly is 1-1 on the 2022 season. In the Cubs batting lineup, their shortstop Nico Horner went 3 for 4. He was the only player on the team with more than 1 hit. On the winning end of this matchup, the Pittsburgh Pirates were led out by their starting pitcher, Jose Quintana. Quintana allowed 2 earned runs off of 3 hits in the 4.2 innings he pitched. He struck out 3 batters and walked 3. The win would go to the Pirates' second relief pitcher, Chase DeYoung. DeYoung allowed no earned runs off of 1 hit as he pitched the 6th and 7th innings for the Pirates. He would strike out 2 batters and walk 1. With this win, he's now 1-0, and the save would go to the Pirates' closer in this matchup, Chris Stratton. Stratton allowed no earned runs off of 2 hits in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. Stratton now has 2 saves in 2022. In the Pirates batting lineup, their only player who had more than 1 hit was their catcher, Roberto Perez. He went 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs and a run as he hit his first home run of the season. With this win, the Pittsburgh Pirates are 7-7. That is the 3rd best record in the National League Central. They've won their last 2 games and they've won 6 of their last 10. They sit 2 games behind the National League Central leading St. Louis Cardinals at the moment. With this loss, the Chicago Cubs are 6-8. That is the 4th best record in the National League Central. They've now lost their last 4 games. That is the 2nd longest active losing streak in the National League, as the Reds have a longer one. The Cubs have now lost 7 of their last 10. They are trailing the division-leading St. Louis Cardinals by 3 games at the moment. Taking a look at what happened in Houston, the reigning American League champs Astros hosted the AL East leading Toronto Blue Jays. After the Astros scored the first 3 runs of the game, the Blue Jays would tie the game up in the 5th thanks to a solo home run from Bradley Zimmer. And then they would take the lead in the top of the 9th off of a RBI double from Matt Chapman, their elite infielder. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Astros would be led out by their goated starting pitcher, Justin Verlander. Verlander allowed 3 earned runs off of 4 hits in the 6 innings that he pitched. He would strike out 5 batters and walk 1. The loss would be attributed to their closer, Hector Neris. Neris allowed 1 earned run off of 2 hits in the 9th inning. With this loss, the Astros are 1-1. In the Astros batting lineup, their elite third baseman, Alex Bregman, went 2 for 3 with an RBI. Their first baseman and reigning American League batting champ, Yuli Gurriel, went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. On the winning end of this matchup, the Toronto Blue Jays were led in pitching by their starter, Ross Stripling. He would allow 3 earned runs off of 5 hits in the 4th innings that he pitched. He would strike out 2 batters and walk 1. The win would be given to the Blue Jays setup relief pitcher Tim Meza. Meza would allow no earned runs in the 8th inning as he struck out 2. With this win, Meza is 1-0 on the year. The save would be given to the Blue Jays closer, Jordan Romano. Jordan Romano would allow no earned runs in the 9th inning as he would allow 2 hits in that span. He would strike out all 3 of the batters he needed to get out. With this save, Jordan Romano has 8 saves already on the year. In the Blue Jays batting lineup, their right fielder, Ryan Tapia, went 2 for 4 with a run. Their elite first baseman, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., went 2 for 4 with a run. With this win, the Toronto Blue Jays are 9-5. That is the best record in the American League East. That is currently the best record-wise in the American League. As looking out in the National League, they would currently be tied for the 5th best record in baseball with the San Francisco Giants record-wise. The Blue Jays have won their last 3 games, and they've won 6 of their last 10. Their 3-game winning streak is the longest active winning streak in the American League, and it's also the longest active winning streak in the MLB. They've won 6 of their last 10 games. They sit a full game ahead of the second-place New York Yankees within their division. With this loss, the Houston Astros are 6-7. That is the 4th best record in the American League West. They've now lost their last 3 games. That is the second longest active losing streak in the American League, behind the Chicago White Sox. They are currently sitting a game and a half behind the Angels and the Mariners at the top of the division, as the Astros have lost 6 of their last 10. But that is what they're looking like. Taking a look at what's happening in Minneapolis, the Twins went on to host the Chicago White Sox. The Twins would beat the White Sox 2-1 to extend the White Sox losing streak to 5. The Twins would win this game after the White Sox led 1-0 going into the bottom of the 8th. It would be a 2-run single from Carlos Correa that gave the Twins the lead, that gave them the win. On the losing end of this matchup, the White Sox were led out by their starting pitcher, Michael Kopech. Kopech allowed no earned runs off of 3 hits in the 5 innings that he pitched. He struck out 7 batters and walked 1. The loss in this matchup will go to the White Sox closer, Kendall Graveman. Graveman would allow 2 runs off of 2 hits in the 1.1 innings he pitched. He would finish the 7th inning and pitch the entire 8th as he struck out 1 batter and walked 1. He would also pick up his very first blown save of the year as well. In the White Sox batting lineup, their right fielder Gavin Sheets went 2 for 3. He was the only player on the team with more than 1 hit. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Minnesota Twins were led by their starting pitcher Bailey Ober. He allowed 1 earned run off of 5 hits in the 6 innings that he pitched. The win would go to the Twins' setup relief pitcher Tyler Duffy. He allowed no earned runs in the 8th inning as he struck out 2. With this win, he's 1-2 on the year. In the Twins closing ceremony, the save will go to Emilio Pagan. Pagan would allow no earned runs off of 1 hit in the 9th inning. He would walk 2 batters and strike out 1. He picked up his 2nd save of the year. The Twins in their batting lineup would see their left fielder Trevor Larnach go 2 for 2. He was the only player on the team with more than 1 hit. With this win, the Minnesota Twins are now 6-8. That is the 3rd best record in the American League Central, as they've won their last 2 games and they've won 4 of their last 10. They sit a game and a half behind the division-leading Cleveland Guardians. With this loss, the Chicago White Sox are 6-7. That is their 5th straight loss. That is the longest active losing streak in the American League. Only the Cincinnati Reds have a longer active losing streak in the MLB right now. The White Sox have lost 6 of their last 10. They sit a full game behind the division-leading Cleveland Guardians despite their 5-game losing streak. Taking a look at what happened in Anaheim, the Los Angeles Angels hosted the Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles would end up beating the Angels 5-3 after scoring the first 5 runs of the game, not even giving the Angels a chance to take the lead. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Angels would see the loss get attributed to their starting pitcher, Reed Detmers, picking up his first loss of the season. He would allow 2 earned runs off of 3 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He struck out 4 batters and walked 1. With this loss, he's 0-1 on the year. In the Angels batting lineup, their right fielder Taylor Ward would end up going 2 for 4 as he was the only player with more than 1 hit. Their elite third baseman Anthony Rendon went 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 2nd home run of the year. With this win, the Baltimore Orioles were led out by their starting pitcher Bruce Zimmerman. Zimmerman allowed 3 runs off of 5 hits in the 6 innings he pitched. He struck out 6 batters and walked 1. With this win, he's now 1-0 on the season. The save for the Orioles will go to their closer, Jorge Lopez. He allowed no earned runs off of 1 hit in the 9th inning as he struck out 2. He picked up his 3rd save of the year. In the Orioles batting lineup, their catcher, Robinson Chirinos, went 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs. With this win, the Baltimore Orioles are 5-9. That is the worst record in the American League East, It is the second worst record in the American League at the moment. They've won 4 of their last 10. They sit 4 games behind the division-leading Toronto Blue Jays at the moment. With this loss, the Los Angeles Angels are 8-6. They are tied with the Seattle Mariners for the best record in the American League West, as they've lost 3 of their last 10. Alongside the Mariners, they sit half a game ahead of the third-place Oakland A's within their division. Jumping out to Phoenix, the Arizona Diamondbacks hosted the New York Mets, and in a game that would go to 10 innings, the Mets would beat the Diamondbacks 6-5. There was a point in this game where the Mets were up 5-1. The Diamondbacks would score 4 runs in the last 3 innings to even tie it up. Thanks to a Dalton Varsho home run in the bottom of the 9th, they would even go. But it would end up being a Starling Marte single that would see Jeff McNeil score to give the Mets the game-winning run here. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Diamondbacks were led out by their starting pitcher, Zach Gallen. Gallen allowed 1 earned run off of 2 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He struck out 7 batters and walked 1 in that span. The loss would go to the Diamondbacks closer, Mark Melancon. He allowed 1 run off of 2 hits in the 10th inning. With this loss, he is now 0-2. In the Diamondbacks batting lineup, their right fielder, Pavin Smith, went 2 for 3 with a run. He was the only player with more than 1 hit. And with this win on the winning end of this matchup, the Mets were led out by their starting pitcher, David Peterson. Peterson would allow 1 earned run off of 3 hits in the 5.2 innings he pitched. He struck out 3 batters and walked 1. The win would be given to the Mets setup relief pitcher, Edwin Diaz. He allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning, as you would allow a hit as well. He struck out 2 batters. He picked up his first blown save of the year, and with this win, he's now 1-0. The save for the Mets would go to their closer, Seth Lugo. Seth Lugo allowed no earned runs in the 10th inning as he struck out 2 batters and walked 1. This will be his very first save of the year. In the Mets batting lineup, their center fielder, Brandon Nimmo, went 2 for 5 with 2 runs. Their right fielder, Starling Marte, went 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. With this win, the New York Mets are 11-4. That is the best record in the National League East. Record-wise, it is, or I guess win percentage-wise, it is the second best record in the entire National League. They have the most wins in all of baseball right now, as they have now won their last 2 games. They've won 8 of their last 10. They sit 4 games ahead of the second-place Atlanta Braves, the defending World Series champs, within their own division, the National League East. With this loss, the Arizona Diamondbacks are 5-9. That is the worst record in the National League West, as they've lost 6 of their last 10 games. They sit 5.5 games behind the division-leading Los Angeles Dodgers, and that is where they sit. They are holding on to the second worst record in the National League, as only the Cincinnati Reds have a worse record. Jumping out to San Diego in a battle for Southern California, the LA Dodgers would end up beating the Padres 6-1 after the Padres scored the first run of the game. The Dodgers would take the lead in the 5th inning off of a solo home run from Max Muncy after Mookie Betts' solo home run tied the game. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown San Diego Padres were led out by their starting pitcher, Nick Martinez. Martinez allowed 2 earned runs off of 4 hits in 4.2 innings pitched. He would strike out 4 batters and walk 5 as he would get pulled in the 5th inning. With this loss, he's 0-2. In the Padres batting lineup, their first baseman Eric Hosmer went 2 for 4. On the winning end of this matchup, the LA Dodgers were led out by their starting pitcher Julio Urias. Urias would allow 1 earned run off of 2 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He would strike out 6 batters and then walk 3. With this win, he's now 1-1. In the Dodgers batting lineup, their elite right fielder Mookie Betts went 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and 3 runs. He would go on to hit his first and second home runs of the season yesterday. Their elite first baseman Freddie Freeman would end up going 2 for 4 with a run. Their third baseman Max Muncy would go 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs and a run. Max Muncy would go on to hit his second home run of the year as well. With this win, the Los Angeles Dodgers are 10-3. That is the best record in the National League West, and win percentage-wise, it is the best record in the major leagues. They've won their last 2 games, as they've won 9 of their last 10 games. They sit a game and a half ahead of the second-place Colorado Rockies. They also sit a game and a half ahead of the third-place San Francisco Giants at the moment. With this loss, the San Diego Padres are 9-6. That is the 4th best record in the National League West, as they've lost 5 of their last 10 games. They sit 2 full games behind the division-leading Dodgers. But that is what's going on with them. Jumping up north to see what happened in Seattle, the Seattle Mariners hosted the Kansas City Royals. The Mariners would end up beating the Royals 4-1 as they scored all 4 of their runs in the 4th inning. 2 of them off of a Julio Rodriguez double and 2 of them off of a Jared Kelenic triple. On the losing end of this matchup, the Kansas City Royals were led out by their starting pitcher, Brad Keller. Keller would pick up his second loss of the season as he allowed 4 runs off of 6 hits in the 4.2 innings he pitched. He would strike out 4 batters and walk 2. With this loss, he's 0-2 in the season. In the Royals batting lineup, their left fielder, Andrew Benintendi, went 2 for 4. He was the only player with more than 1 hit. Their elite catcher, Salvador Perez, went 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 5th home run of the season. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Seattle Mariners were led out by their starting pitcher, Chris Flexen. He allowed 1 earned run off of 6 hits in the 7 innings he pitched. He would strike out 5 batters as he picked up his first win of the season. He's now 1-2 in 2022. The save would go to the Mariners closer. In this matchup, it went to Andres Munoz. Munoz would allow no earned runs and only 1 hit in the 9th inning. He struck out a batter and he walked 1. This would be his first save of the year. In the Mariners batting lineup, their elite third baseman, Eugenio Suarez, went 3 for 4 with a run. Their shortstop, J.P. Crawford, went 2 for 3 with a run. And then their center fielder, Julio Rodriguez, their rookie, would end up going 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. With this win, the Seattle Mariners are now 8-6. They are tied with the Los Angeles Angels for the best record in the American League West. They've won 6 of their last 10 games. Alongside the Angels, they sit half a game ahead of the third-place Oakland Athletics. With this loss, the Kansas City Royals are 5-7. They are tied with the Detroit Tigers for the worst record in the American League Central, as the Royals have now lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 7 of their last 10. They sit a game and a half behind the division-leading Cleveland Guardians at the moment. Last but not least, taking a look at what happened in Oakland, the A's would host the Texas Rangers. The Rangers would end up beating the Athletics 8-1 after scoring 5 runs in the second, and they would score 3 at the very end of the game in the 9th. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Oakland Athletics were led out by their starting pitcher, Adam Oller. Adam Oller would allow 5 earned runs off of 5 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He struck out 2 batters and walked 2. With his loss, he's 0-2 on the season, and nobody in the A's batting lineup would finish with more than 1 hit. That would be attributed to really great pitching from the Texas Rangers. The Rangers were led out and would see the win go to their starting pitcher, Glenn Otto. Otto would allow 1 earned run off of 2 hits in the 5 innings that he pitched. In his first win of the year, he would strike out 5 batters and walk 1. With this win, he's now 1-0. In the Rangers batting lineup, their first baseman, Nate Lau, will go 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a run. With this win, Nate Lau is now that would be his very first home run of the season. Their catcher, Jonah Heim, would end up going 2 for 3 with an RBI and 2 runs. With this win, the Texas Rangers are 4-9. That is the worst record in the American League West. That is currently the worst record in the American League record-wise at the moment. They have now won their last 2 games, and they've won 3 of their last 10. They are trailing the division-leading LA Angels and Seattle Mariners by 3.5 games. With this loss, the Oakland Athletics are 8-7. That is the 3rd best record in the American League West, as they've lost 4 of their last 10. They are currently sitting half a game behind the division-leading Los Angeles Angels and Seattle Mariners at the moment. Those are all of the MLB games from yesterday. Taking a look at what is going on today, it looks as though we are going to have a primetime matchup at 4:05 in Target Field in Minneapolis, Minnesota, as Dylan Bundy and the Minnesota Twins are going to host Vince Velasquez and the Chicago White Sox, and that will be the only primetime game. Taking a look at what's going on around that. At 1:05 in Yankee Stadium, Nestor Cortez and the New York Yankees are going to host Cal Quantrill and the Cleveland Guardians. At 1:05, the Washington Nationals are going to host Alex Wood and the San Francisco Giants, as the Giants are still one of the top 4 teams competing for the top spot in the National League West. Speaking of the National League West, we're going to have a doubleheader at 1:10 as the Detroit Tigers are going to host the Colorado Rockies. Game 1 is going to see Tarek Skubal host Antonio Senzatella. The second matchup is going to see Bo Brisk represent the Tigers and Austin Gomber represent the Colorado Rockies. At 2:20, Kyle Hendricks and the Chicago Cubs are going to host Zach Thompson and the Pittsburgh Pirates in Chicago. At 4:05, In Philadelphia, Zach Wheeler and the Philadelphia Phillies are going to host Adrian Hauser and the Milwaukee Brewers. Both of these pitchers are 0-2, looking for their first win of the season. At 4:07 in Oakland, Frankie Montas and the Oakland Athletics are going to host Martin Perez and the Texas Rangers. At 4:10 in the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Tyler Mahle and the Cincinnati Reds are going to host Dakota Hudson and the National League Central leading St. Louis Cardinals. The Reds are currently looking to put an end to their 10-game losing streak. At 4:10 in Minute Maid Park in Houston, Jose Urquidy and the Houston Astros are going to host Alek Manoah in the AL East leading Toronto Blue Jays. At 6:10 in Tropicana Field, JP Fire Ison and the Tampa Bay Rays are going to host Garrett Whitlock and the Boston Red Sox. At 7:20, Ian Anderson and the defending World Series champs Atlanta Braves are going to host Elise Hernandez and the Miami Marlins. At 8:10, Humberto Castellanos and the Arizona Diamondbacks are going to host the New York Mets. At 8:40, Yu Darvish, the elite starting pitcher for the San Diego Padres, is going to host the LA Dodgers as they're led by Tyler Anderson today. At 9:07 in Angel Stadium, the Angels led by Noah Syndergaard are going to host the Baltimore Orioles led by Spencer Watkins. And then last but not least, at 9:10 at T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington, Matt Brash and the Seattle Mariners are going to host Chris Bubich and the Kansas City Royals. So with that said, that's what's going on with the MLB as we are still kind of in the very early stages. Taking a look at what's going on with soccer, there were no really big games from yesterday, but that will, of course, lead into what's going on today as we jump from league to league. Starting off first, the big matchup of the day is going to see Arsenal host Manchester United at 7:30. Looking at where Arsenal is coming into this matchup, Arsenal is currently among the top 4 teams in England, because they are sitting even with Tottenham, because Tottenham has the goal advantage. They are sitting 4 over Arsenal. With a win here, Arsenal very well could see themselves move up. Man United definitely need a win here so they can get even with Arsenal and Tottenham. So that's going to be what's going on within that league. Sitting at the very top, Manchester City is going to host Watford at 10 o'clock. They sit only 1 point ahead of second place Liverpool. Watford is holding the second worst record in England, so this is a chance for, of course, Man City to, of course, get another win as they get closer to that Premier League title. At 12:30, the Brentford Bees, the 12th best team in England, are going to host Tottenham, as Tottenham holds the 4th best record in England. With a win here, they can, of course, retain their 4th spot if whether or not Arsenal wins. So this is a big day for them. Taking a look now at what is going on within the other leagues. Jumping now to Spain, there are no specific La Liga games because there is a Spanish Copa del Rey game between Valencia and Betis, as this is the Spanish Copa del Rey final. But that's going to be a very big matchup there. And then that's going to, I think, comprise of most of the La Liga soccer that, of course, needs to be played. Taking a look at what's going on in France, PSG, the current Ligue 1 leaders, are going to host Lyon at 3 o'clock. They are currently sitting 15 points ahead of second place Marseille with 5 more games left in their schedule. A win here, of course, would win the table, would win Ligue 1 for PSG if they haven't won it already. Lyon enters this matchup with the 7th best record in France. But of course, a win here would definitely clinch it. So of course, congratulations to PSG on a definitely hard-fought season. Taking a look at what's going on in Italy now, the very top team that's going to be facing off will be the team that's sitting second in Serie A, Inter Milan. They are currently hosting AS Roma at 12. Roma holds the 5th best record in Italy. They sit 5 points below 4th place Juve for a Champions League spot. But Inter sits 2 points behind first place AC Milan with the game in hand, meaning that if they draw, they're second place. If they lose, they're second place. But if they win, they are in hold of first place through 33 games in Italy. So, of course, this is a must-win matchup for them if they want to hold on to the best chance of winning the Serie A. And then last but not least, taking a look at what's going on in Germany, the reigning Bundesliga champs could repeat as the title holders if they beat Borussia Dortmund today. This will be a 1-2 matchup in Germany with 4 games left in their schedule. Bayern Munich sits 9 points ahead of Dortmund in the table. With a win here, Bayern Munich would clinch the Bundesliga title. With a win for Dortmund, Dortmund would, of course, make it a lot tougher for Bayern to win it, but I think Bayern is still going to run away with the title, sitting up 3 wins with 4 games left in their schedule. But very well, this could be the opportunity that they can do it in front of their hometown fans. This can be the day that Bayern Munich wins the league. And of course, staying within keeping an eye on the teams that are still competing for Champions League spots. RB Leipzig is holding that 3rd spot in Germany as they are hosting FC Union Berlin at 9:30. Union Berlin is currently holding the 6th best record in Germany, so they're fighting for a lot as well. RB Leipzig sits 9 points below second place Dortmund, so they're not going to get that spot, but they sit 2 points over 4th place Leverkusen. Leverkusen faces off against Greuther Fürth, the worst team in Germany. With a win here, Leverkusen could eclipse RB Leipzig if RB Leipzig slips, but if RB Leipzig draws and Leverkusen wins, RB Leipzig should still have the advantage on goal differential. And even looking 3 points below Leipzig, SC Freiburg is going to host Borussia Mönchengladbach. SC Freiburg is only 1 point removed as they definitely need a win here. If RB Leipzig or Leverkusen shakes or rattles, Freiburg could see themselves jump right back. They can see themselves jump right up into Champions League contention. And that's pretty much all I have for you for today as of Saturday, April 23rd, 2022. I do want to thank everyone for listening to all 50 minutes of this episode. I want to thank ESPN for giving me all the facts and figures that I need. And of course, I want to thank everyone for listening to all 50 minutes. It's just, I know that it's a lot, but just slowly and surely we are going to get through this year, through everything going on. And I want to, of course, take this time to once again thank everyone for listening. I want to apologize for all the names that I butchered along the way. Once all of today's matchups are done, I'm going to come back tomorrow on Sunday, April 24th. So until then, I want to thank everyone for listening. I hope all is well, and I will catch you with more tomorrow. I'm James Sims. This is The Elite. Thanks for listening to my piece, and peace out. I'll catch you with more tomorrow. I love you all.